Joan Wilder decided to live out Jack Colton's dream and sail around the world. But 6 months later, they've only got as far as the Riviera. The man's been partying all the way since he left New York, trying to find everything. And she's not quite sure if this is the life that she wants. And basically, The Jewel of the Nile is about two people who now the buds of their little relationship are beginning to fall off and looking at each other in the cold, hard light of day. And saying, is that really the life that she wants to live? And the picture's about two people trying to balance out their own independent goals. Well, I think there's always a fear when you do a sequel, and particularly for Kathleen, when the first one was really about her character and her growth. And, you know, she knew that the second one could not really be about that because she came from this Mies, insecure writer to this full-fledged, confident woman. There's always a concern of whether you can come close to bringing the same qualities that you had from the first one. But after the first initial script discussions and trying to alleviate her of some of her concerns, we were off sailing. I mean, I never knew that as a problem, and right now she's ecstatic. And we're all having a lot of fun. The picture's been received quite well. And so we're flying high. It's been a real hard 15 months for me from when I began developing the script from, you know, first page until now, and a few hard months in Morocco. And sometimes you got to just savor your success. Well, I think every father should have high expectations of his children. I think every parent should demand the best of their child. My father, you know, my folks got separated when I was pretty young, and when I would go visit my father after they were divorced, he would probably give an intense bit of fatherhood in a brief period of time, but it was always based upon the fact of him saying, look, if I didn't care, if I didn't love you, it's a lot easier to give you, you know, some money for allowance or something like that. It's only because I care. So I think that's, you know, it's the tough side of being a parent. But that's part of the responsibility, and I think maybe that's one of the reasons why his kids are turned out fairly healthy, fairly sane. But that's the side where, you know, where you got to not be a very nice guy sometimes. And I think you have to, you know, when I make a picture or anything, you want to do the best you can, and I think sometimes a parent's responsibility is to push their kids to the best they can. Well, all you can do, you know, is expose a kid to, or your son or daughter, to what you're doing. I read an article that said that it was very hard for a lot of sons and daughters of white-collar workers because all they saw was their dad or their mom working in an office and picking up a phone and talking on a telephone, and they didn't know what kind of work it was because it wasn't anything physical. Cameron, who's my son, he comes in all my locations, so I think, I mean, all I do is introduce him into it. I don't know if he knows yet that that approximately 80% of the actors and actresses in the Screen Actors Guild are out of work, and it's the highest union of unemployment probably we have in the country, next to our steel workers. And so, but there's nothing you can do. It's my life. There's a lot of good things about it. We all got problems. And I think that's just the attitude I take, is just to kind of alleviate it. It's not much different than any other situation, except Dad loves his work. And it's just that I happen to be in a public eye and maybe receive more attention than a lot of other people who are working very hard too. I'm going to stop smoking. I'm working on it now, starting about a month and a half earlier. I started smoking about 3 years ago. I'm really upset. I want to stop smoking. I'm looking forward to spending more time, 86, to focus with my family. After 85, had been a very hard year of working. And finally, we all talk about, you know, world peace, but I'd be very satisfied with making amends with our neighbors in Central America. I think we should realize that we're all part of the Americas, North America, Central America, South America. And it really seems foolish at this period of our life not to recognize that some countries have the revolution maybe 200 years later than ours, and we should all sort of support anybody's democracy, wherever it may be.